Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Administrator Zeldin, for staying 3 more minutes. As you know, this hearing follows a 26.5-hour markup of a bill that is still moving its way through Congress that sends a clear message to the states to do more with less. And if members of the Freedom Caucus get their way, states will have to do even more with even less, depending on what the final cuts to Medicaid look like. But even though sometimes government governs in silos, people don't live in silos, and state governments are dealing with all of the impacts of the Trump administration. So you take a state like Virginia that has the second highest number of federal employees, has already been hit hard by mass layoffs as our labor market is cooling, our unemployment rate is expected to reach its highest rate since 2021, bucking a national trend, and our GDP growth is looking to slow down. And that's at the same time that the Commonwealth, like other states, is going to have to look to fill severe budget gaps due to Medicaid cuts, funding cuts, and the shifting of more responsibility to the states. And so the proposed budget cuts more than $1 billion from categorical grants to the states. And these grants give states a baseline capacity that they need to carry out federally mandated environmental protections. So slashing them handcuffs the state's ability to continue to address pollution. And earlier this month, the Environmental Council of States sent the EPA a letter highlighting how states carry out more than 90% of the nation's federal environmental programs, and states, state legislatures, and the business community depend on Congress to fund their efforts through grants and partnerships with the EPA. This letter warned that if Congress were to adopt the White House recommendation for discretionary spending, states may be required to terminate primary, delegation, or authorization agreements and return full program implementation to the EPA, which would overwhelm the EPA and have detrimental impacts to the economic development. So, Mr. Chair, I'd like to ask unanimous consent to enter this letter into the record.
Without objection? So ordered.
And I'll get this question out, and I know you're going to have to answer it later, but I really want to know how states are supposed to implement critical environmental programs under the drastic cuts proposed in the budget, and if the states can't and are forced to return those responsibilities to the EPA, how do you plan to carry them out with the severe staffing and funding cuts at the federal level?
Well, Congresswoman, I know we only have 8 seconds here, so we are happy to follow up, but we at the EPA are going to fulfill all of our statutory obligations. We are receiving many requests for additional primacy coming from states. I just signed off on moving forward with Class 1 through 6. The primacy requests coming from Arizona, we're dealing with one right now. The request came in from Texas and elsewhere, and we've signed off on 25 state implementation plans, 16 of which were backlogged from the last administration. We want to advance cooperative partnership with states. We want to hear their concerns and try to figure out how to help them deliver clean air, land, and water for their constituents, which is an obligation for all levels of government. I appreciate your concern and interest on this particular issue, and welcome the opportunity to work with you on it.
Thank you. I yield back.